My friends across the Western Pacific. It is currently the morning of the 7th of August, 2021. Got a lot to talk about today, so bear with me. First, of course, we have Nida, Mirinae, and Lupit. Three tropical systems. So I'm going to be bouncing all over the place here, but I want to try to cover all of my bases. Good thing, Nida, I'm not going to talk too much about that one. It's getting out of here. It's moving off towards the north. Mirinae still going to bring some windy conditions along the coastline of Honshu, Chiba, over towards the Izu Peninsula. Probably going to see some breezy weather. Not terrible, but overall that's going to move towards the north and east. And then you have Lupit, which I think is going to be the bigger impact of the storm system. So let's talk about it. All right, let's first talk about JTWC's forecast with our tropical system out here. This is Mirinae moving towards the north and east. Like I said, close enough to the coastline of Honshu. We're going to see windy conditions, especially across the Izu Islands, Izu Peninsula, and then even over there towards Chiba as well. But, not typhoon weather, rough seas, stuff like that. Things where you might want to, stay inside. And that's or if you live right on the coast. Otherwise, Tokyo is going to be just fine. Actually, Tokyo might see some nice weather because of dry air being dragged in on the northern side of it as opposed towards the north. And you guys see kind of that dry air dragging in behind that. Reason why in Okinawa you actually have had some decent weather the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, there's Lupit actually blowing up some convection into the Taiwan Strait, and it's been pulling all sorts of moisture in from the southwest, which is why out here into Taiwan, in the last 24 hours, you have seen these reports of about 300 to 500 millimeters. Empirical system, that's about 10 to 15 inches across the strait in Fujian province. They have seen reports of flooding as well, especially some of that urban flooding because of the persistency of this guy. It has just been moving so slow, and the rain has been there, and it's actually intensifying just a little bit as well as it moves across Taiwan. Those mountains, which just act as daggers in the tropical systems, will tear it apart a little bit, but there is plenty of guidance, including the ECMWF, what I'll show you in just a second, that shows this thing kind of reorganizing and intensifying as it pushes past Okinawa. Now, it's still going to have that shear and the dry air, the same thing that Mirinae is dealing with. So I wouldn't expect a typhoon. But, in Okinawa, the winds are going to kick back up yet again. And you're probably going to have some messy weather as we go ahead Sunday into Monday. Also, I want to note the overall background flow here. This is water vapor imagery, by the way. And I like showing this. It kind of gives you an idea of where the moisture is. Of course, there's our tropical systems, but also there's that dry air dragging behind it. So this is like I mentioned, Okinawa, you got that dry air, but look at all that moisture getting pulled in behind it. And that's what's going to be impacting Taiwan. And eventually, not only the tropical system, that overall moisture flow is going to shift towards the east, not only impacting, the southern Japanese islands, but maybe even northern areas of Luzon as well. We'll see that increase in the precipitation. So let's go through hour by hour. You can see that time out here. This is by Saturday evening, Japan Standard Time. That's what I got the time listed as, by the way. So just kind of subtract an hour or two if you go towards the west. Here's our system back towards the north with Mirinae moving off the coastline of Japan. Our other one moving there closer to Naha as we go ahead through Sunday morning, and then eventually pushing towards the north and east by Monday morning. So Naha, Sunday is probably going to be the worst of the weather as this tracks on by. I probably got to put some locations on there because pretty hard to see it under that hot mess. Kind of like what I did with this one here. This is by Saturday afternoon. First, you got Mirinae moving towards the south of Tokyo. Like I mentioned, those breezy conditions as we go ahead Saturday night into Sunday morning for the coastline of Honshu. This is showing about 40 to 50 kilometer per hour sustained winds out there. And then eventually, our storm's going to move towards the north and east. Dry air will filter in behind it, but it won't last long because the same weather pattern, that same flow, is going to be pulling in Lupit right on its heels, bringing rainfall across most of Japan. I think this is not going to be a wind threat. It's going to be more so of a rainmaker from southwestern Japan to northeastern Japan, just kind of taking its sweet time going across there, and then eventually pulling in that moisture in behind it as well. So, it's a lot to talk about here. A lot of impacts going on with these multitude of systems here across the Western Pacific. All right, let's talk about kind of the just well, first I want to show you something else here. Let's talk about our overall extended. All right, let's just go here. All right, there's the bigger. Like I said, still getting used to this clicker here. Let's keep going though. Here's the bigger picture, our tropical systems. I do want to quickly mention another invest location. South of Guam. I'm keeping an eye on it right now. There is kind of a low chance of development with this guy. If anything, it could flow towards north, and as you see kind of the overall wind flow, it would likely kind of buffer and push off like this. But for now, this is one of those things that we're keeping an eye on. That's the key thing you want to take away from that. All right, let's now take a look at the 3-day forecast across our areas here. Into Manila, I still got those thunderstorms and southwesterly winds. Could be upwards about 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Temperatures remaining to the high 20s to low 30s. Back towards Taipei, heavy rainfall today for sure. Messy, obviously got a tropical system in place. Naha, the winds are going to be out of the south today, up to about 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Then you got those rains continuing into tomorrow through Monday. Finally start to improve by Monday, becoming mostly cloudy skies on the backside of that storm. And then into Tokyo, of course, windy near the coast, but further inland, not all too bad. You basically got that rain at times out there. All right, Richard sent in this photo out of Cavite. If you guys ever want to send in some photos or anything like that, you notice that is the background for today's update. Please go ahead and take a look at it. All right. And their main points, no typhoons expected out of all three of these. They're just tropical storms. Monsoonal domination is the key thing out here. It's just dominating, at least at this time. And floods in Taiwan through southeastern China because of the slow movement of Lupit. All right. This is a hard one. This was a hard one to make because it's my first time really using the new graphic system to a point where most of the data and everything, and this clicker is not the best one in the world. That's one thing I'm kind of getting. I'm getting used to it, but it's frustrating at times here because it just doesn't want to do what I want it to do. Sometimes you see in there a second ago, I was flipping back and forth. It's because it was just yeah. Anyways. Follow me on Patreon if you want. You can donate $2, $6, or $10 a month, and you could be like all these fantastic people, especially the Super Typhoons. They donate $10 a month to make these graphics possible, to make these upgrades possible. And this is still only a teaser. We have more stuff coming through. If you notice, I'm still using the photos from JTWC. Soon, I'm going to get that warning data inputted, and not only that, for Pegasa's and JMA's warnings, I'm going to actually have the warnings into the system too. So once I get everything flowing, which is going to be a couple more weeks, this is going to look a lot better. Anyways, for now, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, and yeah, have a good